Welcome back to Ravens Report. Ravens defensive line coach Clarence Brooks has been around football a long time. An offensive lineman at the University of Massachusetts, he rose through the coaching ranks to make his NFL coaching debut in 1993. 23 years and 4 teams later, he is now the Ravens' longest tenured coach, 11 years on the job. But this season, Clarence, or CB as he's known around the Ravens facility, has a new challenge to face. In mid-August, during the heart of Ravens training camp, he began to notice something just wasn't right. And by the end of September, the diagnosis had come in: esophageal cancer. Initially, Brooks hoped to get through this season and get back to normal without having to go public with his cancer battle. But word leaked out. Brooks had to stay home for the Ravens' Monday night games in Arizona and Cleveland because they conflicted with his treatments. And during the second game, ESPN's Mike Tirico said that Brooks was dealing with a health issue. As awareness and concern started to mount, CB wanted to address the situation. Earlier this week, we were offered the opportunity to sit down with him so he could share his story. It wasn't a typical week at the Ravens Under Armour Performance Center. The Ravens were 0-3 and preparing for a Thursday night game against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. A short week condensing all the preparation that goes into an NFL matchup. It was also the week that Clarence Brooks learned about his cancer diagnosis. He quietly shared the news with fellow coaches and staff, but didn't want to distract his players going into such a critical game. That night in Pittsburgh, the Ravens won in dramatic fashion, the defense coming up with 2 huge 4th down stops in overtime that eventually led to the game-winning Justin Tucker field goal. The mood in the locker room was pure exuberance and joy, and then this moment followed.
Before we go any further, a guy that has meant so much to this program for so long, he may be the best football coach I've ever seen, I've ever been around. He's going to get this game ball today, Clarence Brooks. Yeah.
This game is nothing without players. I believe that now. I believed it when I first started. I don't believe it until I'm finished coaching. You know, it's the players that make the game, and I'm just happy to be at the right place at the right time with a great group of guys like you. Thanks. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Team. There we go.
You got the game ball in Pittsburgh. Coach knew, some of your colleagues knew, but the players didn't know. So getting the game ball, what was kind of the emotions of that night?
It was first of all, we won the game, and it's always great to beat Pittsburgh. Getting that ball was, anytime you get a game ball, is special, and knowing what John meant and some of the words that that was special to me, and how he felt about what I was doing, and it's special about how I feel about what I'm doing here.
It was fun to see too. I saw the clip, but to see the players get just as excited that you were given the game ball, but obviously not knowing. You told them the next day. Yeah. So at least your D-line, what was their reaction? How did that all
That was, I told them first. I grabbed my defensive lineman, and we were in the meeting room, and I told them first, before I told the other players what was going on with me. And, they were, I don't know, shocked, but they were, they just kind of sat there, But they let me know that, hey, CB, we got you. We're going to travel this with you.
I just thought it was a kind of a pep talk for the D-line, and then when he came out and said, that he was about to start going through treatment, and I was kind of shocked. I was like, treatment? What are you talking about? And then, we find out, he had cancer, he had a tumor, and he was gonna take care of that. And being the person that he is, he's just kind of resilient about it. He was like, hey, don't feel bad for me.
Heart sank, it's just more. Big question was, going through everybody's head was pretty much like, why CB? Of all the people, why CB? Biggest thing CB told us, he was like, he got his inspiration from OJ when OJ got diagnosed with ALS, and OJ was like, why not me? So that's the same approach CB took to it, and he's like, why not me? I'm strong enough to fight this. God knows I'm strong enough to fight this. So why not him put this task on me, because he knows I can handle it.
Taking inspiration from coworker O.J. Bragance's positive attitude through extreme adversity, CB was determined to fight his cancer while continuing to coach and be a positive force. Since mid-October, CB has endured 33 radiation and chemotherapy treatments. He missed 2 games, the first games he has missed in 4 decades of coaching. You've always had a close relationship with your players and then, as you said, the family here at the Baltimore Ravens, but have you seen it even strengthen even more with what you're going through? Did anything surprise you?
Well, okay, can I tell you a little story? At the end of radiation treatment, you ring a bell. Okay, my treatment period's over, you ring a bell. And when I first went there, the first day of my treatment, there was a lady there and she was ringing the bell, and I saw the look on her face of, the look of, geez, I got through this, you know what I mean? And the look of, I accomplished this, the look of, I never thought this day would come. And I said, boy, I got a long way to go, and that's what I was thinking about when I was ringing the bell. I said, gee, a month and a half ago, that was me.
Clarence Brooks is one of the finest people I've ever been around. The character that he shows every day, the work ethic that he shows every day. So I had absolutely no doubt in my mind that he would handle this with supreme grace, which he has. When we heard the news, it was discouraging, it was confusing, but we all know the resolve that he has and his ability to push through things that are difficult because he's done it his whole life.
You find out, like I have, like I've always known, but you find out even more your friends, your real friends, guys that will go to the wall for you, and that's the guys upstairs that I work with every day.
It's amazing in your life when you have people who demand the most from you, who you love the most. I guess because they care about you so much, and that's how the guys feel about him. I mean, here's a guy, he gets in their face, man. He gets after them. If they're not doing things exactly right, you can hear him, across the field a lot of times. And sometimes you'll just see the players shaking their head and smiling and laughing and knowing that he's right. And he wants me to be great and he wants me to be good. And he's got his arm around him after practice and they're laughing and joking and everything else.
I was messing around with him. I was like, oh man, CP, I think I'm gonna go do inside run and after that I'm gonna shut it down. He's like, man, I don't wanna hear it. He's like, if no one here has cancer, I don't wanna hear it. You shut up and practice.
CB, the coach, hasn't batted an eye. He hasn't backed up one step. I think his guys are playing great, and he hasn't changed his expectation level. If anything, the bar's been raised for those guys, I think, because they see what he's going through, and they see how he's overcoming this adversity. How can they not, be expected to perform at the highest level through whatever adversity they face? I mean, that's what he's doing.
On many nights, following the instructions from his doctors and the encouragement of his fellow coaches, CB has gone home at dinner time to his wife, Justa, rather than work into the late hours. You've got your family here, but you've got your family at home. Your wife is a cancer survivor as well.
Yeah.
How has she helped guide you through all of this?
She's tremendous, She was able to kind of take me through a lot of things that, as a from the diagnosis, she says, how do you feel? And I said, I don't know. I'm kind of stunned. And then she said, well, you feel kind of lost. I said, yeah. She said, well, that's one of the feelings. But she's my rock, and she's a tremendous woman. She put up with me for 40 years. I got 2 great kids and a couple grandchildren, and my family is extremely important to me. But my wife is, she's the one that keeps me going. She's the one that got me through all this.
Well, and you took the trip to Miami last week, and your family was there, your grandkids running around the hotel lobby. Here you had a big smile on your face. So to be able to kind of continue that journey with them.
Exactly, and that's what, again, going through the treatments, I got pictures of my grandkids. That is what I'm working for, get myself as healthy as I can and get through this so I can spend as much time with them as I possibly can.
You're done with treatment, you're done with chemo, done with radiation. What is the prognosis after that and what's next for you?
Somewhere around the end of January and or the beginning of February, I'm going to have surgery to get the tumor out, and hopefully from there things will go on and I'll be turned from a cancer fighter to a cancer survivor.
you never expect to go through something like this. So when you look at yourself and having fought through this and one more hurdle to become a survivor, what have you learned most about yourself through all of this?
I always thought that I was pretty tough, okay? But I realize now that this is the toughest thing that I've ever had to go through in my life, and I realize how hard this is, and I go back to my wife. I said I always thought that I was tough, and I go back and my toughness was always in her. I finally see that, it was in her, and I was with her when she went through her cancer fight, and how she handled it. And I remember saying, "Geez, I don't know if I could do this," and she just kept after me in mind and said, "Hey, you can get through this. We can get through this." And so I always thought I was a tough guy. I really wasn't. I'm a little tougher now than I was 8 weeks ago.
Well, CB, we wish you the best, of course. Thank you for sharing your story with us. And we know you're in the home stretch, and we're just going to keep our thoughts and prayers for you.
Thank you.
And your continuing recovery.
I
So
appreciate
thank you so
it.
much.
Thank you very much.